What is space? This seemingly endless black canvas dotted with stars has fascinated humans for centuries. We often look up at the night sky and wonder what lies beyond. Let's dive into this and explore one of the biggest questions. Where exactly does space begin? Simply put, space is the vast, three-dimensional expanse that exists beyond the Earth and between celestial bodies. But it's much more than just nothingness. Space is not completely empty. It contains a near vacuum of gas, dust, and radiation, and is the place where planets, stars, galaxies, and black holes reside. Even light itself travels through space. In reality, space is filled with tiny particles of matter, electromagnetic radiation, cosmic rays, and dark matter, all of which shape our universe. It's not just a passive backdrop. Space is active, dynamic, and constantly evolving. Before we venture into where space begins, it's important to understand the layers of the Earth's atmosphere. Starting from the ground up, we have the troposphere, the stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and finally, the exosphere. Each layer has distinct characteristics in terms of temperature, pressure, and composition. As we ascend, the atmosphere becomes thinner and air pressure decreases. At a certain point, the air molecules become so sparse that traditional aviation can no longer function. This is where space starts to become a reality. Now to the big question: where does space begin? While Earth's atmosphere slowly transitions into space, there isn't a strict boundary. However, there is a widely accepted line known as the Kármán Line, located at an altitude of 100 kilometers above Earth's sea level. This altitude is often recognized by scientists and international organizations as the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. Beyond this point, the atmosphere is too thin for conventional aircraft to generate lift, and spacecraft must rely on rockets for propulsion. Essentially, the Kármán Line marks the threshold where aviation ends and astronautics begins. But does everyone agree on the Kármán Line? Interestingly, different organizations have varying definitions of where space begins. For instance, the United States defines the edge of space as 80 kilometers above sea level, where astronauts aboard suborbital flights earn their astronaut wings. This variation exists because the transition from the atmosphere to space is gradual, not an abrupt cutoff, making it a topic of debate among scientists and policymakers. You might wonder, why does it matter where space begins? The definition has real-world implications. It affects space law, satellite launches, international treaties, and even space tourism. Defining where national airspace ends and where outer space begins is critical for regulating air travel, launching satellites, and determining responsibilities and liabilities in the space industry. Understanding this boundary also helps set guidelines for future missions, commercial space flights, and global cooperation in space exploration. With space exploration advancing rapidly, knowing where space begins helps us prepare for the challenges ahead. Space tourism companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are already pushing beyond the Kármán Line, offering brief experiences of weightlessness. Meanwhile, organizations like NASA and ESA are planning long-term missions to Mars and beyond. Space, the final frontier, begins just a short distance above us, but its vastness stretches far beyond human imagination. Whether we measure it from the Kármán Line or another altitude, the journey into space is just beginning. So, the next time you look up at the sky, remember, just 100 kilometers up lies a realm of infinite possibilities, a place where we have only just started to explore. And the more we learn about space, the more we realize how much remains a mystery.